Authorities say an autopsy on a 9-month-old girl whose body was found on a Gold Coast beach has not yet been completed. It comes as New South Wales Police apply to extradite the baby's father from Queensland. New South Wales Police have confirmed the baby had died about 30 kilometres south of Surfers Paradise Beach, where the body was found.
New South Wales Police have been working closely with Queensland Police on this investigation. Those investigations have led police to a very strong geographical nexus with New South Wales, and in particular Tweed Heads, which we believe at this stage that the 9-month-old child passed away in Tweed Heads.
The child's mother has also been questioned by police over the death. Joining me now is Bravehearts founder Hetty Johnston for more on this. Hetty, I know they were in a situation where we don't know all the details yet, and it obviously is likely to be subject to the courts as well down the track. But the details we're getting so far is the child's parents were homeless and they were this, well, euphemistic term, well known to police, so a concern about why she was still in their care.
That's it. I mean, if that's true, I suspect it is true, because the police didn't seem to take very long at all to find the parents and to, put two and two together. I mean, I don't know. If we're in a situation where, I don't know how in this country that we've got a newborn or 9-month-old and her brother living rough on the streets, and everyone knows they're there, it seems to be, and the authorities don't do anything. I mean, I think what we're doing is we're focusing far too much on the rights of parents and not enough on the safety and protection of children, and I feel like that's where it's falling over.
Interesting you mentioned that, just as we're having Labor confirm its position today on changing adoption laws, that they don't want this sort of 2-year maximum point at which parents can still have to take back a care of their child. At that point, that the people, wanting to adopt them or in foster care could have them permanently. Labor says it's too hard a marker to bring down, that it still is the best result for parents to have a child back if they're fit to. Do you agree with that?
No, I think the best result is that we've got a child that's fit and happy and healthy and loved and cared for, not bouncing around the foster care system, with no security, no home, no one who's really prepared to give them their whole heart, because, my goodness, we might lose them next week back to their parents. I mean, I really think this is what I'm talking about. We so focus on the rights of adults and of parenting. And, these children wouldn't be in that situation if the parents themselves haven't failed. Now, that's not to say that they should be punished forever and their children removed. I know what it's like to lose a child, so I'm speaking from experience. What we have to demand, and I'm talking about adoption here, what we have to demand is that parents look after their children. And if they can't look after their children, you've got to hope that they would give their children up to a situation where their child is going to be safe, because that's all you've got. The best thing that you can do for your children ever is to make sure that they're safe, they're loved, they're cared for, and they've got everything you want. If you're a good parent, that's what you do. That's the unselfish thing to do, not to drag your children through sand dunes and in horrendous situations and hang on to them and make their lives miserable just so that you can have the satisfaction of, I don't know what, claiming some pension or just having that lifeline back. Open adoption, let's do it. Let's move to that space as quickly as possible.
Are you willing, though, to progress the issue, talk about whether 2 years is the right one or whether it has to be this sort of concrete cut-off date? That seems to be Labor's main issue about this, not that there isn't a big issue with adoption in New South Wales and indeed the rest of the country.
Well, we have to do the research there, and I mean, because I'm not a psychologist, so I can't tell you, but I'm pretty sure the bonding and all of that happens in this infant time. There's no good, leaving children with foster parents and then ripping them out again 2 years later when they've totally bonded to these parents. Again, that's an argument that thinks more about the adults than it does about the children. If the children are bonded, if we're serious about protecting children and we're serious about their best interests, then their best interests are served by being safe and happy and secure in a loving environment. That doesn't mean that the parents can't come and see them. We're talking about open adoption, but it does mean that the child has some security of tenure in their own life and that their rights and that their future is the most important consideration in all of this.
Hetty, just finally on this, seen some dramatic headlines about possible solutions and even talking about so-called drop boxes where kids can be dropped off to someone that can care for them, even if it's an agency, without the parents having to, tell anyone who the child is? How does that work?
I'm not sure how that works, but I mean, I think those of us that are normal and, living normal lives, I suppose, and have it together, we'll look at it and go, well, we just shake our heads and we go, why didn't they take their child and drop it off at the hospital or drop them off at the neighbour or a friend or a family member? Why do they hang on to these children when they know their children are at grave risk? Why do they do that? I don't think we can get our head around it. So we go, well, we'll give them somewhere to drop their children off. Look, ideally, idealistically, I think that sounds great. But I think if you're a parent and you know that your child is in that situation and you're a parent that's going to do that anyway, you'll find somewhere to drop that child off, whether it's a church or an NGO or a hospital. I mean, you will find some safe place for that child if that's what's in your heart. But these people are not thinking that way, and we've got to try and understand that a little bit more. I don't understand it, why you would deliberately put your child in that kind of danger, why you would be off your tree on drugs and alcohol and invite people into your home. You don't know what's going on. Your kids are being raped in the bedrooms. It's going on all the time. I mean, the numbers are startling. They're scary. We only hear about them when children actually die. When a child is killed, it's on the news. But there are so many other children within an inch of their lives so often and living the most horrendous situations with parents that just shouldn't be parents that we really need to think about. Free up the foster care system and move these children into adoption and let's start thinking about our children first and our adults second.
Bravehearts founder Hetty Johnston, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.